There's always people you don't want to be on the same team with, but they do bring a skill set, and you better not ignore that. When I was on Wall Street, I had no choice who was placed on my team.
Sure.
It's pretty crazy how things can change very quickly.
And you went directly into the CEO position.
Directly into the CEO position.
So, all right, the big jumps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
I made a decision early on that I will ask every question, regardless of if it is a stupid question or not. You know, everyone says there's no such thing as a dumb question. Well, as a CEO, you kind of feel like there are some really dumb questions.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Blueprint. Today, I'm here with John Alcala. He is CEO of It Works. It's a health and wellness company, and he is going to tell you exactly what we need to be doing to start your own deal, or maybe to get healthy, or I don't know, something like that. Stay tuned. Well, John, thanks for coming to the show. I really appreciate you being here.
Brandon, thanks for having me, man. Privileged to finally meet you. Big fan and excited to just dig into wherever this conversation goes today.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Tell me about It Works.
So It Works. Wow, it is a 24-year-old company.
Okay.
It actually has a really cool story. So the founder was a math teacher and coach up in Michigan. And he loved coaching, but obviously his income for his family wasn't there. And he wanted to go on a journey of entrepreneurship. And he found one product and he started what is now It Works. 24 years later, it was this crazy wrap that you put on your belly.
Okay.
And it tightened, toned, and firmed in as little as 45 minutes.
Is it one of those little shaky things in there?
No, it's just it was just like a all natural little wrap, and it was actually my wife that found this product, and we actually joined the company to sell the product, and had no clue that it was going to absolutely change our life. So it's an amazing company. It's 24 years old. We are completely debt free. We actually went debt free in 2009. If you remember the mortgage crisis, not the best time for anything, much less to be going debt free, but the company did. Still debt free to this day, founder led, sales field driven. And really it's a company that our mission is just to change lives all over the world, whether it's financially, whether it's in their health. And I think one of the coolest things that differentiates us more than anything is that it literally started with a coach and a teacher who had a dream. And I mean, that is the American dream, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
So these guys were, just like, hey, I need to get out and get something done, or I'm just entrepreneurial spirit. I got to get outside of working for somebody else. I want to do my own thing. Yeah.
We call him Coach to this day because he was a basketball coach. Nice. He actually, he's putting out a book on May 5th, all about dreaming. He's a visionary. He's a dreamer. And as much as he loved what he was doing, he just knew there was more for him. And over the 10 years of me and my wife, being distributors of this company, he would always look at me and say, John, I think there's more for you. And I didn't really know what that meant. I sure didn't know that it was going to lead me to actually becoming the CEO of that company.
Right.
But when you get to talk to Coach Mark Pentecost, you will understand that he does nothing small. He's always dreaming. And he just was at a point with his family where he just wanted more, and he wanted to change more lives than what he was doing as a teacher and coach, which as a teacher and coach, you're changing lives every day. There was just something inside of him that said, I need to do something different.
That's cool. Well, we'll probably dig into that a little bit later, but I think for right now, tell me a little bit about you. Where were you born? Where'd you come from?
I was born in West Texas, Midland, Texas, the Permian Basin. Friday Night Lights, that's probably the first thing that comes to your mind. Midland, I would not have changed growing up in Midland for anything else, right? It really was like community, sports, church. Yeah. And really, you had nothing else to do. So it was really based around that. And I actually lived in Midland for 25 years. I graduated from Midland High School. I went to Midland College, and then I graduated in Odessa at the University of Texas Permian Basin, because I too thought I was going to be a math teacher and coach basketball. Yeah. But the Permian Basin is such a unique place. It's funny that it gets some clout. You had Landman that just came out, and then there, it's not too far fetched, right? And all the energy, that is pushed out of the Permian Basin. What's ironic is everyone's like, "Oh, your dad was in oil." He actually worked for AT&T for 35 years, but all my friends, they were all in the oil and gas industry. Business, so that was my upbringing. It was awesome. It was really great.
What was family like?
Family was awesome because, that's kind of what that community was built around, right? Like it was my dad coaching my basketball team, my AAU team, right? If it wasn't my dad, it was one of my friends' dads. And the community was so strong there, at that time. My family, most incredible parents in the world, just been married, I think 47, 48 years now. My sister, I have an older sister who was a phenomenal athlete, played basketball at Baylor. Have an older brother who now works with me at corporate, but he was a pastor basically since he was 18 up until I pulled him to the corporate side.
Right.
And then I was the youngest, and it was just a great upbringing. A lot of sports, a lot of family time, and really a lot of focus on that. There wasn't a lot of distractions growing up as a kid. It was because of where I grew up.
What sports did you play?
So I played basketball and soccer. I was probably better at soccer, but I loved basketball more. I also thought I was going to be a little taller than I am. And so I probably missed that.
Touch of a hindrance.
Yeah. But weirdly enough, I didn't play football despite the rest of the world in the Permian Basin, playing football. But I kind of wish I would have now. I think if I would have go back, I would have just played everything. And that's what I try to get my kids to do now. I'm like, don't pick too soon. Like, get the best of everything.
I was kind of the same way. I was a one sport guy because our coach at our school told us, you pick one and you run with it. We're big enough. There's enough athletes to go around. So you pick one and you. So there's some, I wish I would have. All the way through there.
Always.
What about sports do you carry on through to today that you pulled out of that?
Man, I think the beauty of sports, and like my kids are really learning it now. And obviously as a parent, you see everything so different than what you did before. But I think the greatest thing that team sports showed me was there's always going to be players on your team that they all bring a different skill set, right? But they might not bring the personality with that skill set that you really want or like or would pick. But, over the course of my professional career in business, you have to find moments where you ignore the things that aren't and you focus on the thing that is and the value that people bring to an organization. Before this job at It Works, I was an equity trader and I traded stocks. And there were brokers that I despised as people, but man, they did a good job. So you have to decide, am I going to let that impact the right decision, right? And I think that's what sports teaches you a lot. It's how do you bend your personality? How do you get the most potential out of someone or a teammate? How do you bend yourself in a way to for the betterment of the team and or the organization or your business, right? And I think that's probably the thing that I still carry on to today that we all do, right? There's always people you don't want to be on the same team with, but they do bring a skill set and you better not ignore that, right?
Yeah. It's a funny approach because, not funny, it's a unique approach. There's a lot of people that feel like I'm building my team with my type of people, right? The type of thing that I want out of certain people. And it takes a long time to churn through and get it built the way you want to build it.
Right.
Back to the sporting kind of analogy, like coaches say it's my way or the highway, or they say I need players that work hard, or I'd rather give up on a superstar that plays well on the field but tears my team apart, and so they're less malleable.
That's a great point. And I think it really depends on what position in your career you're in, right? When I was on Wall Street, I had no choice who was placed on my team. It was like, hey, that seat's empty. I don't really care what you have to say. This is your new teammate, right? If you're an entrepreneur, that's a different story, right? Because of the situation you sit in as leading a company and the situation, and so really a self-reflection of where am I? I the decision maker, or am I having to adjust based on the decision that's made? I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you prefer, and I guess what you're saying is you prefer to be more malleable in the situation you yourself to your players, or you prefer people to work the way that you want them to work, but you're happy to bring them along?
Yeah, I think, I think all successful people, if you strip it down, they are masters at just working in whatever situation that they're in, that nothing really catches them off guard, or nothing really causes them to pause. They're able to identify what they're in and how to make the best of that situation. Okay. So when I was on Wall Street, I'm a people person. Like I love talking with people. I love brainstorming with people. I don't really care if our views line up or anything. Like, we have a job to do. How do we better each other in that environment to get the job done? But now when you're the one hiring, firing, looking at, efficiencies, deficiencies, that's a different ball game. So I don't really prefer one over the other. I think that as you grow in leadership, you kind of have to just learn to be great at both and not get caught up too much in the minutia of all the noise around it. Just target what you're trying to accomplish on either side, and then what's going to give you the best opportunity to win. And you got to work in those guys, work in those lines.
Yeah. I guess to that point, like, it's never really the person that you have around you. It potentially could be their failure, but it's not their failure because you're the one leading the situation anyways. And you need to be able to use that tool for what it's best at.
Absolutely. Right? And, to be honest, in the last 2.5 years as CEO of a company, the hardest decisions that you have to make are people that you really like that are no longer able to bring a skill set that you need. And, that's the toughness of being an entrepreneur, right? That's the toughness of, having a team under you that, you want to create culture, that we're in it together. But if something shifts in the industry or changes, tough decisions have to be made. And when you're in that seat, you have to really, really put the emotion aside and say, what is the best for the company as a whole? Because every employee is depending on you, not just a handful, right?
Yeah. Makes total sense. When you were in high school, you got into the sports and stuff. So after that, was there anything else you were thinking, man, when I get older, I want to be X?
Yeah. So Brandon, what's weird is not weird. I guess it's not. It's, I don't know where, your listeners fall in their faith. But I thought I was going to be a math teacher and a coach basketball my entire life. My senior year of college, I got into my student teaching and I was like, there's no way in the world I'm doing this. Like I will not, this will not go well for the kid, nor will it go well for me.
Right.
And during college, I actually was a young adults pastor. So I was literally going to college with the young adults that were coming to our young adults ministry on Monday night there and right in the middle of Midland and Odessa. And so I actually thought for a while that I was going to wind up in vocational ministry. I thought that's what, the Lord was calling me to do. In 2009, we knew our time was up there in Midland, and my brother was moving to Dallas Fort Worth area to do a church plant. And me and my wife, we were like, we're the only ones left in Midland. Like, let's just move to DFW. Let's see what this next step is. And so we actually moved to help with a church plant. And I landed a job at this equity firm in downtown Dallas. And it was at that moment that I really felt like, okay, something's shifting here. It's not ministry in the sense of I'm going to be on staff as at a church. I started to realize, man, I can do a lot in being in corporate America and bringing in my value system, not pushing faith on anyone, like just, going in there, doing a good job, being consistent. And over the course of time, some things happened at work that were in my favor. And, I began to climb that ladder, and I was just like, okay, I think I'm supposed to be doing this.
Okay,
right.
David.
And so it was just a shift. It was just a gradual shift. But I thought I was going to be a pastor for the rest of my life. I never would have thought I worked on Wall Street for 13 years. And I sure wouldn't have put the CEO title on my name when I was, in my early 20s. Never saw it, was never on the radar. Yeah.
So you thought you were going to be a pastor, and then you went to school. What school was this?
I went to the University of Texas Permian Basin.
Okay.
And it's right there in Odessa. And, at the time they didn't have a football team, which tells you like you're in the Permian Basin, you don't have a college football team. They do now. The joke was though, you'd walk into the spirit shop and it would say the shirt would say UTPB football, and on the back it would say still undefeated.
That's great.
So I got a math degree, and I got my bachelor's in mathematics, and that's probably the only reason that I got a look, to step into that equity firm, because I had no experience stepping into that either. So yeah.
So coming out with your math degree, you knew at that point you didn't want to do teaching anymore.
Right.
You thought you were going to get into stocks and the financial side of it. Like, what was the progress there? Like,
so I actually didn't. I just knew that we were supposed to move to DFW and help with this church plant. At the time, still thinking I was going to be in ministry. And I got a phone call from an amazing individual. Her name's Lisa, who used to drive me like to and from practice when I was in middle school, who happened to be the head of HR of this equity firm. And she heard we were trying to move there. And I'll never forget these words. She goes, "John, send me your resume. I highly doubt they'll even look at it, but I'll do you a solid and I'll just throw it in the mix."
Yeah.
And sure enough, I got a phone call and I got an interview, and the guy who was running the desk at the time said, "Listen, are you looking to promote? Are you looking to advance?" I said, "I'm just looking for a job." I was like, I know we're supposed to move to DFW. And I go, I am the clay and you are the potter. Like, what does your desk need? And I actually think that's what got me the job, was my willingness to not come in with, demands, like preconditions, or really even, I think they wanted someone who was just hungry to learn. Yeah. And I think that's why I got the look, right? And I started very shortly after that. So it's kind of a crazy story.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that come in, like you said, with just demands, or this is my trajectory, or I've got it plotted out, or whatever. Well, I mean, I can tell you right now, as a business owner, I look over and go, if someone says, "I'm here to grow with you,"
right?
That's something I want to invest in.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great way to get your foot in the door for sure on a situation. So how long were you there?
I was there 13 years.
Oh,
so over the course of time, I was able to go from kind of being a trading desk assistant to actually having a seat. And to be honest, it was tough to leave. It was tough to leave that job. The great people, great setup, great everything. You couldn't paint it better. Took care of me and my family so well for that 13 years. But it was another one of those moments, Brandon, where it's like, "John, I think there's more for you." I just kept hearing that, but I didn't know what it meant. Like there was nothing on the table. And COVID kind of changed, if you can imagine, kind of like a way toned down Wolf of Wall Street, let's say that. But the camaraderie, the energy of a trading room, going to, only one or two people can be in the office, and then you're sitting in an office by yourself looking at CNBC on the TV. And, it did something psychological to me that I was like, man, I don't know how much longer I can really do this. And at the end of 2022, I got the phone call from this founder who, me and my wife were doing the business the entire 13 years that I was on, or not the entire 13 years, but for 8 or 9 of those years, we were also doing It Works. And he said, "Hey, I think I have a company I want you to run." And we had talked about different things throughout the years, because we had just clicked through leadership events and things about us being in business together. And I didn't know what he was referring to. I thought it was maybe like, he's a very charitable person. I thought it was maybe like a charitable, like managing his charitable, organization or something like that. But when he said it works, it made sense. I knew the business. I knew how to grow in the business from the sales side. But then I had this weird dynamic of I had been on, on this Wall Street side, understanding global markets and kind of a cutthroat, environment. And it was kind of just like, it made sense. And he called me in November of 2022 and I went home and I put in my 2 weeks. I mean, it was fast and I started January 2nd of 2023. So it's pretty crazy how things can change very quickly.
And you went directly into the CEO position.
Directly into the CEO position.
So, all right, the big jumps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So
you just opened a really big can here. So
yeah, I mean, you went from, mathematics to I want to be a teacher to that's not going to work.
Right.
To let me see if I can get in the door somewhere in a financial company by happenstance.
Yep.
Right. Someone threw it in and you just said some kind words to somebody and that kind of resonated with them and that brought you on. You were there for 13 years. No business school.
Nope.
No training.
No.
And the guy that you met, your personality is what he likes so much about you. And I'm guessing your ethics, because it seems like he's talked to you several times, offers you a CEO position.
Yep.
And you immediately tell this guy, when you've been doing well in another career, yes.
Yep.
Here's a couple things I'm going to bring up.
Yeah. Yeah.
One is, do I trust this human being that's going to put me in a position that I have no skins on the wall for?
Right.
How do I trust that guy?
Right.
Not only do I believe in myself, but how do I trust that guy? Because what does he see in me? Because I've never done this before.
Right. Right. I mean, so over the 9-ish years that we were in, we call it the field, the sales field. Me and Coach, we had many moments of conversations, and ironically, he was a math teacher and a basketball coach. That's what I wanted to be, right? We would play rounds of golf and both very competitive. We laugh, we talk so much trash, like
as it should be.
Nothing is ever for fun, right? But over the course of those years, you just, I would say that I would call it what I would call as a God moment, like that. It's like, okay, I know that I'm supposed to be doing something to change the world with this human being. There's a handful of people in my life that I'm like, if I'm gonna go on the front line, these are the people, right? And he, over time, through his mentorship and things, he became that to me and my wife and really my family. And what was weird, Brandon, is when he offered me the position, and I told him this, I wasn't scared because I had kind of gone through this ringer in my previous job where I came on as an assistant and another trader had made a mistake and they had to let the trader go almost instantly. And our firm was growing so fast at the time, they just put me in the seat. And it was exactly what you said. It was like no training, no business school, just, hey, don't screw up. And I remember my boss from my previous job literally looked me in the eye. He used another word, but he said, don't screw up for 12 months. Like that was, and so that was my goal. I wrote it on a dry erase marker on my mirror. Don't screw up for 12 months. Like every day I'd wake up, okay, just don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. Be great, And so when he offered me this, yes, it was a completely different world, completely different industry, completely different magnitude, going from, managing virtually no people to managing, people in 19 countries, different world. Right. But I don't want to say I wasn't scared, but I had a peace about it. I'm just like, I know he's believed in me for a long time. I believe in that I may not have all the answers, but if I can quickly get the team around me that does have the answers and get them in my corner, they're going to keep me from a lot of mistakes. And so, when I tell people the story, they're like, wait, at 39, you became a CEO like that. It's mind blowing because it's not a normal story. But what an incredible opportunity. But I never had the sense of I'm going to fail.
Yeah, sure.
I knew it would be hard, but and even to this day, I can't think like that, right? Like I can't even have that thought that that's an option because of all the things that are coming at you every day. Yeah.
And sometimes, and I don't mean this as a shot either.
Yeah.
sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't know what you're about to step into because you've never stepped into that before. So you can go in smiling at opportunity.
Absolutely.
As opposed to worrying about the things that are about to hit you. I told you earlier, like starting my own company, I cockily, I was cocky when I said, I'll do this because I've never failed at anything.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Man, I've been punched in the face. Doing my own company, you get, and I hope that doesn't come off as me sounding, crazy. But I mean, honestly, like I really felt true belief in myself to get this done. And I still do.
Yeah.
But that was blind confidence in just past results of things that had nothing to do with this situation that I was going into.
Yep.
Right. And so we start to believe in ourselves and the things that we progress with, we believe in. Sometimes people go down the line and they trip over something and they start to believe like there's a crack in the foundation.
Yep.
I don't necessarily believe the way that I used to believe. You know, that's what people will think sometimes,
Yep.
But it's good that you went on a rip there for a while, that success, where you could step into that.
Right.
And then you were smart enough to understand that I need to put some people around me. I've got a head coaching job.
Yeah.
And I need a good DC.
Yeah.
I need a good OC. And I need some great coaches in here that have done this, that have skins on the wall.
Yeah. If you can just imagine, I get out of an Uber in Palmetto, Florida. I'm standing at the steps of our headquarters, beautiful building overlooking the Manatee River. And I am about to walk up these stairs and he's about to tell the entire executive team, this is your new CEO. Few of them knew me and my wife from the field. I literally in my head was like, dear God, this whole team could walk out on me today.
Yeah.
Right. Like I didn't think they would, but they could have. Right. I can tell you on Wall Street, no one's going to be happy with that situation.
Sure.
Right. And so I had all these preconceived notions, but it's a tribute to the culture of our company that, no one did. Yeah. Right. My CFO, my CTO, both of them looked me in the eye without knowing anything about me and said, hey, we're not going to let you fail. Like we're going to do everything we can to make sure you're successful. And that changed a lot of what I thought, right? I was like, okay, so if it all goes crazy, right? I know the founder believes in me and I know I have two of my C's that are right there with me. And then you could see kind of the company rally behind just, a new time and a new season for the company. And has it been easy? No, of course not. Nothing worth doing is ever easy. But our culture is phenomenal. And it's a foundation that was laid before I ever got there.
I'm going to bring up a reference. Seen the movie Moneyball?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Founder loves Moneyball. He always talks Moneyball. Yeah.
So Brad Pitt comes to the situation. He's goes and gets a young hotshot out of some other place that's crunching numbers, and he starts, quizzing him on what he would do and why he would do it because he does it differently, right?
Yep.
Then he brings this young guy into a room and sits with these older people, and they all keep kicking at him and kicking at him and kicking at him.
Yeah.
Until he finally has to start moving people, get in line or get out.
Right. Right.
Any moments like that?
Not with my C levels. One thing, I did a lot of things wrong in my first 12 months just because I didn't know, right? But I'll tell you, the one thing I did right is that I made a decision early on that I will ask every question, regardless of if it is a stupid question or not. Everyone says there's no such thing as a dumb question. Well, as a CEO, you kind of feel like there are some really dumb questions that if you've never been in that seat before. And so I leaned on them, man. I pulled them in and I said, I don't know what this acronym is. Like, can you break this down for me? Right. Like, okay, supply chain, like we're in 19 countries. Okay. You had to break that down for me. Like this, this new world of advertising on Meta and affiliates and all this stuff, leaning on the CTO, say, what are you seeing? I know what I see. And so, really identifying my key players very fast and kind of making that the starting circle before you really branch out to a bigger circle. Because what I've noticed in not just my situation, but all situations, when there's a regime change, it's amazing how quickly everyone wants to tell you everything about what went on previously, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have time for that.
Yeah.
What I had to do was get my arms around what I had and where we were going. I didn't really care about the past. We had a lot of work to get done, but none of those moments, tough decisions as, the economy and all the things, tough decisions with staffing, but that's part of a new head coach coming in as decisions have to be made. And, but none of those defining moments where it was like, hey, I need to, prove a point or stake a claim. It was transparency and honesty. And, I think that wins over time, even in the tough decisions. Right.
Yeah. But that, like you said, I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. And you said I made a lot of mistakes in that first year. Owner was on board the entire time, never wavered. What's he doing in your ear the entire time?
We had a meeting literally for the first year every Thursday. We still meet on Thursdays to this day. He trusted that because I was coming from the sales field, that the decisions we were making were going to help them do business easier. When I say I made mistakes, there's, in retrospect, I could have moved faster had I known what I knew now. I think there's battles to fight and battles not to fight. I could have picked some of those a little bit differently. But as far as the founder and, support, he trusted the decisions that we were making. He brought not only me, but he brought my wife over the corporate side. And then he brought my wife, she built in this business. She was top 10 globally for seven years. And then he brought my sister-in-law, who's top 50 globally for many years. And then he brought my brother on board strictly for leadership for our corporate team. Like I call him like a corporate chaplain. Like if I have leadership things that, I'm like, hey, so-and-so really needs to, be bolder in meetings or, there's potential here. He'll really hone in on that and like create a development plan for them. A lot of stuff around COVID with mental health issues that he wanted an outlet. So that's why my brother was brought on. So it was really 4 of us that came on all at once. And I think that's the only way it would have worked. We're all completely different. We have completely different skill sets, but he trusted all 4 of us with what we were doing. And he left room for me to make some mistakes. But you're always going to look back and say, man, I faster on this one, slower on this one, could have approached this one different. So I think we're ignorant if we don't do a retrospective on every year of what we did.
As you go in, biggest challenges that you're starting to face. Like I go in, I start this new company. I need to understand all these things that I'm not, particularly the best at. Right. Blind trust. It's a good and a bad thing at points, right? Like you're the expert. I'm trusting you to be the expert. And you go listen to somebody and they give you bad advice.
Right.
Could sink or swim when it comes to that point, right? Like how do you do that not knowing without completely diving in for yourself?
Yeah. I think just like anything else in life, I feel like great leaders have a good gut. They have a good instinct. And my old boss, when trading stocks, he was like, John, you don't have to be right on everything. You just have to be a little bit more right than you are wrong. He would always say that, right? And that actually stuck with me to this day because I think it's so applicable in everything in life. And blind trust is hard. Relinquishing things to your team and saying, okay, like fly, that's hard. I think where you can minimize the risk in that blind trust is being clear on your expectations and having checkpoints all along the way. And then, we have a policy at our office that if I hire you, we're going to sit down with you in 90 days and we're going to say, is this the fit or not? And we tell them that from day one because, it's not healthy for the person. And it's not healthy for the company if we just missed it, right? And so I just think, when it comes to making those decisions that you're kind of sticking your neck out a little bit for, how do you minimize the risk, but not to the point where you're crippling them from doing their job or fulfilling, what their skill set is. Man,
you're offering jobs to people for 90 days and saying, we'll see a 90-day contract to come in. They're walking away from whatever career they have on hopes that they get through a 90-day contract. It works great for you guys. How do the employees see that?
I think, and it's not that brash. It's just, you're hired, but at 90 days,
don't fail.
We're going to sit down and we're just going to have an honest conversation. Yeah. And, there's in 2.5 years, there's been one person that it didn't work out. Right. And why was it? It was actually some really funny stuff. Well, that wasn't funny. It was kind of an ethical issue. But at that 90 days, what we're finding is that the conversation isn't, hey, you're not the person. The conversation is, you're the person, but here's where we need you to be great. And the reaction of that is awesome, because it's like, okay, I'm the person. They just need me to step up in A and B. And then we're rolling, So
you're getting them to win the job twice. Yeah,
we are. And, but I will tell you that if they got the job, we're pretty sure we got the right person.
Yeah.
It's not like we're just taking anyone and good luck, The process is hard. It's multiple, interviews and all the things. So we're pretty sure, but there's still something about that 90 days that says, hey, look, and that sets precedence for every conversation from that point, about being who, not just the company needs, but like as a CEO of a company, yes, I need you to be great for the company, but I want you to be a great person. Like I want you to be a great father. I want you to be a great mother. I want to make sure your work-life balance is there. I'm not here to run you right. I want you to come into work and say, this company genuinely cares about me growing as a person while also growing the company. And I think that setting that foundation early is solid. You know?
I don't, and I guess when I said win the job twice, I didn't mean like this is a hardship for you.
Right.
There's two things that come out of that. One is there's an endorphin release when somebody says you've got the job, right? It's exciting. It's a great moment.
Right.
When it gets to the 90 days, I'm sure there's nerves that are going up to that 90th day, and someone sits down and then they get another boost that says, hey, we like you, you're in, but also let's tweak here. And because of pairing it up with that endorphin, that they're like, yeah, sure, I'll chase that.
Well, and you have to think about what it does to the team. Like, if I hire someone in our creative department who on paper is amazing, has every stinking qualification in the world, but I throw them into that team that has a great culture and they kill that culture.
Yeah.
Do we keep keeping on for another however long?
Yeah, right.
Like, so do you make the whole bushel of apples rotten by throwing the one in there? Or do you say, ugh, that we're going that route. I will never sacrifice culture in our company or field for one piece of talent. It's not going to happen. Right.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. You always want the culture is everything for me in our group too. Making sure that everyone relies on each other, depends on each other, supports each other.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like if there's some issues that come between the two, can they work that out? Can they not work that out? Right? Is someone so stubborn that you just got to eat it? That's not a culture of. I tell my guys, I see you more than I see my family.
Yeah, yeah. It's fact. Fact.
I get 4 hours a night seeing them. I get 8 hours to 10 hours a day seeing you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are family.
Yeah.
And so we got to treat each other well and grow and respect each other. So those types of things, I really like that. I didn't think about it at the beginning, but when you said like you got 90 days, I was like, whoa, what a pressure. But at the end of the day, you're keeping your culture safe.
Yeah. And you have to. I mean, it's hard enough nowadays. We're so blessed with our employees, just hardworking, beautiful people that genuinely see what we're doing for the greater good. That it's not just, we're all here to, make profit, and that's what we're here to do. But the culture of our company is, this year our goal is to change 1 million lives, whether that's through their health or financially. You can go to our website and you can literally see it in real time. Like the I think it updates every 10 minutes what we're doing. We have these really obnoxious like counter clickers on every floor of our HQ that are updating as well. So
that's from Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. So when you know, they're getting coffee, they are like literally mechanically obnoxious. Like they click. But there's something about that that's like, oh my gosh, what did we just accomplish? Right. Like, what are we just doing? And that's really what we believe as a company we're called to do, is just change lives all around the world. And our corporate team has adopted that. They own it. And the culture has to be there, because you know this, that if the culture of, you know, the top is not healthy, it just funnels down. It spoils everything. So, you know, we'll fight to keep that culture as much as we can.
Did you bring the tickers in?
I did. Yeah, I did.
That's definitely from stock market, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, our marketing teams, they're great too. You know, it's hard when you're in 19 countries, but your one office is in Florida, to keep the main thing, right? And so every town hall, every quarterly town hall, we'll refer to it with our sales force. They see it in our app for all of our sales team. Like, they can see it in there, and it just keeps the focus on the right thing. You know, when we were building in the field, we had just this philosophy that if you put people first, the paycheck followed. And that's still what we believe as a company today. Like, people first, everything else takes care of itself. And every one of those clicks is a life, you know, and keeping that at the forefront makes you realize that what you're doing on your computer every day is more than just doing something on a computer.
It's someone's health getting better.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. What are, do you guys have growth goals every year that you're trying to get? I mean, are you guys trying to be aggressive? Are you guys trying to be, hey, let's just maintain, or like, where are you at right now?
So, you know, in our industry, you know, we're in the direct selling industry. It's said in a lot of industries that if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And there's a lot of opportunity right now in our industry. And so, you know, our goal is that, one, we're changing a lot of lives every year. And two, you know, one thing that we look at is how many people are financially benefiting from our company regarding the field. And so one of the main barometers for me as to if we are being successful is how many paychecks are we putting out every month, right? So we're constantly looking like, and those paychecks, man, they could be, you know, $50 a month. They could be $50,000 a month. It's that type of business. But what you'll find is that really the ones that really jump in our business and really need it is the stay-at-home mom that just needs a couple $100 extra a month, or the college student that doesn't want to be a waitress, right? And wants a way to do it from her phone. And so one of the things that I always look at is how many checks are we paying out every month, and then year over year, is that growing? If it's growing, we're changing more lives, right? We know that if we're paying out more, then the company's taking care of itself too, right? And so we do have internal goals and growth goals and things that we want to do and want to see, but to just bring it down to what I believe our foundation is how many people every year did we affect, and that number needs to grow every year. Yeah.
So It Works is an MLM type of a business?
Yep. We're a direct selling network marketing company, and it's direct to consumer, so they don't have to buy a bunch of stuff and, you know, sell it like, you know, they can if they want to, but that's not the world we're in today. In the world of affiliate marketing and influencers, it's more it's evolved into that type of business now, that they just do it on their phone each and every day. And so it's a business model that it changed me and my family's life. I know there's a stigma there. I'm not ignorant to that stigma, but I'm living proof that, you know, the conspiracies of, well, you can never make more than the person above you or any of that. If that was the truth, we would have never been number, you know, 7 in the company 3 years in. You can't do that if that's the case. And so we fight that stigma a lot. But again, it goes back to what's the culture of our company? What's the goal of our company? How many customers do we have versus salespeople? We have a massive ratio of customers versus salespeople. And as long as you keep those things in line, it doesn't matter if you're in plumbing or direct sales. People have opinions, and you just choose what you get to hear and what you don't want to hear. And so at the core of our business, we know we're helping a lot of people and we can live with that.
So your main goal for growth every year is, like you said, the number of paychecks you pay out. So it's more of a recruiting type of a sales goal.
Recruiting in the sense of distributors, but also customers, because we have products that literally are naturally based products. Like my brother's lost 45 pounds on our products, right? Like some of these pictures I get of people who have just literally taken 2 or 3 of our products consistently over 90 days, dropping all this weight. That's life-changing, man. And so it's not obviously just Paychecks, but that's why that ticker includes both, is because if I know if we change 1 million lives this year, that's more than we did last year, right? And so yeah, it's growth in every aspect. It's in salespeople and it's in customer acquisition.
And I guess what I'm getting at is like, how do you when it comes to marketing for you guys, are you guys pushing marketing yourself? Are you relying on the influence? Do you give them seeded, hey, this is our brand standards. If you want to use something, do it like this, or blah, blah, blah.
So that's a great question. The market's changing so much right now. There's a lot of companies that spend millions of dollars, whether they're on Meta, whether they're on TikTok, whether they're doing Google Ads, all that stuff. Historically, the magnitude of our type of business is that you can only buy products through our distributors. Like, yes, you can go to itworks.com and just purchase from there. You can go to Amazon, but you're going to buy it from us and you're going to pay a way higher price than you would if you found someone who actually sells our products as a distributor. And even in those sales that go through the website or through Amazon, we take those commissions and we put them in a leadership pool to pay back our salespeople. We're not trying to compete with our salespeople. We want our top leaders to, benefit from every sale that we go through. That's something that we fundamentally believe in. And so, the beauty about doing our type of business is that you can do it however you want. You can have a podcast and talk about, greens and why they're important. And you need a daily vitamin with your fruits and vegetables all in one drink. And you can grow your business that way. You can, GLP-1's a huge thing right now. We have, 2 products that we call the GLP-1 duo that, for $75, there's clinical studies behind every one of our products. We're not just throwing white labeled products out there and selling them for massive amounts. Every product we've put out in the last 2.5 years has to have at least one clinical study that you can click on and you can actually see what the ingredient is doing and how effective and how efficient it is. And that empowers your salespeople to say, listen, we always say it's not magic, it's science, right? And you can't dispute these 2 products that have 2 clinical studies that when combined naturally increase your GLP-1. So while the masses are out there where there is a place for a shot, specifically with people with diabetes and those things, go do that, whatever you need to do, listen to your doctor. But there is a large group of people that are looking for a solution that is 1, less expensive, but 2, not a prescription drug. That's where we come in and that's where we're effective. And so that's been game-changing for our business, is in that space, giving a natural alternative to a prescription drug, which is really cool.
Well, that's cool, man, to see that, there's a couple of opportunities out there for people to kind of do it how they want to do it.
Absolutely. Are
you giving them branding standards at all?
So when you come on as an It Works distributor, you're given your website.
Yep. You're given a website that you guys built for them?
Correct. Okay. So it's a pre-made website that they can share to whoever they want so that they can go buy their things. We give them an app that has training tools. We do equip them with images if they want to use them. Really, anyone who wants to join our company and needs to make a little bit more, who actually will just put some effort in. I've never been more confident in our 24-year history that they have everything that they need. And that's kind of was our role coming in, is how do we make this business the easiest we possibly can for someone who has never sold anything in their life, right? And so they get their website, they get the app, they get training. There's Zooms every week. I mean, we have a community. And I want to speak to this because it's a very rare community of distributors out there who actually want everyone to win. It's not like a competitive thing. It's not like, oh, you're doing better than me or I'm doing better than you. Again, going back to the culture of the company, we just want people to win. Like that's all we care about. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you're number one in the company or whether you're, 50,000 in the company. Are you winning? Are you winning financially? Are you winning as a person?
Yeah.
What you'll find a lot of times is that, because our business is predominantly female. Yeah. It's about 94% female.
Okay.
What you'll find is you'll find a lot of females who have no community. And if It Works is only brought into their lives to give them a community of women who actually empower them and believe in them and make them realize you're more than just a stay-at-home mom. You're more than just a wife. You're more, because I think a lot of females, especially once they get, past college and they start like, what am I like? Is there anything different for me? Is there anything, if they don't go into like a professional career or something? And what we found is that community really changes people's lives in itself, and then the income follows as well because they're finding something that they can do. It's duplicatable. It's not a complicated business. It's an easy business, and they can do it at their pace, which is very uncommon, for our world today.
So when it comes to growth of a company that's based like yours, I've not interviewed anyone that's done this before.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions. I'm kind of interested in this.
Yeah.
When it comes to growth, seems to me there's two ways to grow.
Okay.
One is I recruit more people to sell my product. I find better solutions for my product, right? Cheaper solutions. Take the scale up and the volume and the cogs down. Is that it? What else is there?
Really, that's the beauty of our business. When me and my wife joined the business in 2015, I believe it was, we didn't even know what the term direct selling was, or MLM, or as the world would say, some of them, a pyramid, right? That's the best one. But we laugh about that one. But all she had to do was find some people who needed to make some extra income, invite them on the journey, and we would literally tell them, hey, we're going to try this for like 6 months. It doesn't work. Let's just quit. Like, what do we have to lose? Like she wanted to try the product anyway. The beauty of our business is you pay $99 and you get like $150 in product immediately. So it's like a no risk with a possible reward business. You don't have to buy anything every month if you don't want to. Our founders our company exploded in 2014, 2015. We can't say this now from a FTC policy, but at the time we could. We launched what were called good bonuses and get out of debt bonuses. We can't say that now or we'll get flagged. So we don't have those bonuses anymore. We have other named bonuses, but we can't use getting out of debt as a promotion. But we believed that we could teach anyone. Like, we always wanted to help people be smart financially. But we didn't have a mechanism to do it. Like, I didn't know how to teach you how to make $200 extra a month.
Right.
This business brings in the average person, and they can find 2 or 3 people that they want to do this with. And then it's about helping people get healthy. And then over time, it builds and builds and builds, but you're not capped to the person that's above you. You're not bound to them. You can outpace them. You can outgrow them. And so if you can't, then you're with the wrong company.
Right,
that's a bad company. But in ours, we just saw it work for us, and, hundreds of thousands of people over the course of 9 years joined us on a journey. And, I mean, I wouldn't be the CEO of a company if the business model didn't change my life.
Right.
I couldn't live with myself. Right. But this, it's truly the best definition of you eat what you kill. And I understood that on Wall Street.
Yeah. I love that.
So yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So we talked about the top part. The bottom part is the products.
Yep.
Right. There's the cost of the products and what the products do for you, and what the value is for those. Do you have like a team of doctors on your squad, or like how are you picking these?
So we have a product advisor. we have our formulators, and then we have a product review committee within the company. And it really is, if you threw us all into a boxing ring, it starts with an idea of what a product could be, trends, what are the hot things right now,
things like that.
But there's certain products that are super trendy, but if you're competing with advertising dollars, that's not our business model. So like if creatine's a huge thing right now, right?
Acai berry or whatever it was.
Yes. Yeah. So like creatine is a huge thing right now, and it's mainly because women are realizing it's healthy for them. People who have taken the shot, it's proven to do really good stuff on that. Well, there's nothing special about creatine. You can go get creatine anywhere and kind of everywhere, right? Go to Amazon, get whatever you want. I think Adam Levine and Create, like they're dominating creatine right now. That's not, could we bring out creatine? Yeah. Could we bring out a creatine gummy? Yeah. But what's the differentiator? Like we are a company that when we put out a product, we're saying the differentiator is blank.
You're not a me too.
We're not a me too. We are we want to empower our distributors to say, hey, it has this ingredient that no one else has, that has this clinical study that no one can refute, that we can't get in trouble for claims that we make because there's science behind it. We just put it, we pre-launched. It'll be for sale for the world on May 12th. It's a product called Timeless, and it's an elixir that you put in water. Has 3 clinical studies on it, and it's literally healthy aging from the cellular level. So you drink it, it tastes awesome, but it helps with, you hear a lot about collagen peptides, and you can get like a bulk can from Costco or whatever. Our peptides, clinicals behind them. Dermavol, that's going to help your skin, clinical behind it. Montageventa NU, another key, that it really is the powerhouse. There's studies on that says that in the study, it literally says can give you up to 2 years back of your life in the terms of health. These are the claims that we go after, so that when our people are selling our products, it's like, hey, you can't get this from anywhere else. That's the differentiator between a company that is innovative, a company that's not just, we could have creatine gummies to you tomorrow. We could call a company, white label them, make them look cute, give them to you or Amazon. That's not what we're about right now. What we're about is, what is the differentiator between why people would want our things and why people would not want our things. And we have to hone in on that, because that's our bread and butter.
Yeah. When someone is, so you guys are picking the things out, adding these different pieces. Who are you doing the studies with? Like, is it like an FDA something? Like, I don't understand that part of it.
Yeah. So, every formulator and manufacturer that we use, I mean, there's a gazillion steps that they have to go through to make sure that the product's even allowed to be sold. So, we don't have to do that in-house. We are able to do that through our formulators, and not to get into too big of, the nitty gritty, but you have to think about, probably that the FDA in the US is like the most lenient in the world. Like, look at what happens with Skittles and Cheetos and all the things. Well, we're in 19 countries. So we're not just having to pass a filter for the US. We're having to pass the filter of Health Canada. Right. We're having to pass the filter of the EU, which is far harder.
Yeah.
And so when we're formulating products for all these countries, like you're not sneaking anything by any of them. And so that's the commitment we make in our products too, that they have to be all natural. They have to be clean. And I mean, they have to pass all the regulations that are out there, which is not easy to do. So that also should bring confidence to any of our customers that we're bringing them the best of the best. Yeah.
And when someone says you're going to get 2 years of your life back, and I'll hear, naysayers all the time say, how do you validate that? You know what I mean? How do you validate something like that?
I'll click on the 4-page study and just say, read what they mean. Read what they mean. Now, does that mean like I was going to die at 68? Now I'm going to not die until 70? No, it is healthy aging. All the studies that are in that document, and it's on our website. It's not like we're trying to hide it.
Sure, yeah.
We're like, hey, you can be a naysayer, but just go read it. Buy it, don't buy it, doesn't matter to us. We're just telling you that this ingredient works. That only we have, it works, right? And if you don't buy it, don't buy it. But we're not going to make claims that we can't back up with a clinical, and so we don't. Yeah.
So going forward, what are the next goals you guys have for, the future with products? Are you guys looking to do anything particular, or are you?
Yeah, we come 2026, we're probably going to bring out 2 or 3 new products. I won't tell you in specifically what area, but for 24 years we've been heavy in weight loss. This timeless product is a first into kind of healthy aging. And it's a really cool product. I'll make sure I send you someone when I get it. I don't have it yet. And
give some of these grays back.
Yeah. And come 26, I'll allude to this, that women's health is huge right now. Yeah. That there's a massive movement of females that are caring about kind of what the late 30s, 40s, and 50s hold. And so we're really looking to expand into that area because we've always been great at weight loss, but we want to complement that with longevity and really healthy living in the women's space overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things too. Feeling good with supplements. One is getting my body in a shape that I want it to look aesthetically, right?
Yep.
The other thing is, how does my body feel? I think as you get older, I sleep wrong and my shoulder starts hurting for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And it's like joints and bones and skin and things like that. I mean, you start to look at your arm and it gets that little fractal type stuff over it. And you're like, what is this? That's old people skin happening. What is this? You recognize you're not bulletproof anymore.
Yes.
Right. So you start adding these things into the mix. Past the weight loss type thing.
Yep.
People are looking for what? Joint, skin, I guess hair loss or I don't know what
you're
else.
Right on, man. Like you're speaking our language. So, if you push aside kind of the GLP-1 weight loss movement right now and you're like, man, what's it works good at just to make me feel better? Right. We've actually had greens, like powder greens.
Okay.
For over a decade now. We were so ahead of that trend.
What does that mean, powdered greens?
So your daily fruits, vegetables, all in one green scoop that you put in cold water, and ours tastes like berry, or we have chocolate if you make protein shakes or whatever. But it really is getting your fruits and vegetables in one dose. AG1 has made a massive push in greens. We were just way ahead of the trend. Greens was forever a great seller of ours. They've done a great job with their marketing. That is one of our products that if you take a daily multivitamin, you don't need to anymore. You just take our greens because we put the multivitamin into the greens. So again, how do we differentiate as a company, greens from something else? Well, if you're taking a multivitamin and greens, why don't you just take them together? Right. And so greens would be a good example of that. We just put out what is called It Works Happy Coffee. And you're hearing a lot about mushroom coffee. And we put a clinical 5 blend of mushrooms called Pico 2 in this coffee, along with this flower from South Africa called Zimbrin. And you can feel a lift in about 15 minutes of just feeling better about tackling the day. It's a black coffee. Add cream to it, do whatever. So again, you hear about mushroom coffee. What's our differentiator? It's a clinically proven studied flower called Zimbrin that shows in 15, 30 minutes you're going to feel it differently.
Right.
That would be a great health supplement. A lot of people out there, they're doing intermittent fasting. I've intermittent fasted for, I think, 8 years now. So I eat at like 6, 7 o'clock, and then I haven't eaten today. It's 1 o'clock or noon now. Yeah. So I won't probably eat for, another 2 or 3 hours just because I've always done that. So we have this, a coffee we call keto coffee, that is our fasting coffee that doesn't break your fast, but it fills you up. It has MCT oil, grass-fed butter, and then your coffee, it tastes like a latte. That's one that helps people just feel better, right? Hair loss, you mentioned that. We have a clinically...
I still got mine, but...
Okay, good.
I know we wear a hat all the time. people's?
A gummy that literally tastes like a Welch's grape juice gummy called Thicker that has clinically improved antigain in it, and the results of that are phenomenal. So, just coming up with products that, yes, weight loss is our bread and butter, but we want people on products that they're like, man, I can't go a day without this. Yeah. And that would be your coffees, that would be your greens, a lot of gummies to an extent. One of our best sellers is called the Skinny Gummy, and it's an apple cider vinegar gummy, but the difference is we have an ingredient called Morisol that targets belly fat. So why just take apple cider vinegar that's already good for you? Why don't you add something that targets belly fat too? So coming up with that differentiator of healthy living, right? So many great products. I could go on for a really long time. So.
I've seen a lot of stuff going for, like, again, hair loss is kind of an aesthetic thing. Weight loss is whatever. You talked about the greens and the vegetables, joints. A big thing I'm seeing now is like brain health. With like, what's the new one they keep pushing, like L-theanine or something like that?
So that's in our It Works Happy Coffee. You'll find L-theanine in it as well. You're right on.
Okay. Were you guys focusing on brain health for anything, or?
We brought out It Works Happy Coffee for that reason, because we felt that there's a space for that. It's doing really good. The marketing behind that is a lot of fun because there's a lot of females specifically in our world with what our company does, good for them, not all of us. They don't need to really lose weight, right? So they do go to what's going to make me feel better. And that feel better really comes down to something like an It Works Happy Coffee, or gut health is a massive movement right now. So we have a gut health trio that has like a pre and probiotic aloe, which is proven to be incredible for gut health, and then our greens as well. So you pair those three together, you have a complete gut health system, and it's, I don't quote me on the price, but I think it's all three for, $80 or something like that. And, and that's something that you can do every day just to feel massively better, and it's not about weight loss. It's about being able to tackle the day and be in a good spot,
When people say gut health, is that about, I've heard a couple things. One is inflammatory something. I don't even know what that means. It just, what does it mean? I get sick more often when I eat more things? Right. I don't know. But you hear these people talk about this is connected to this as they go through that. What does that really mean?
It really, the product advisors and the doctors we talk to that really hone in on the gut really believe that is truly where it all starts. Where true health starts, like truly feeling good, good digestion, better sleep, better performance, better energy. They will tell you that it really all starts in the gut. So if your microbiome is where it needs to be, if the gut is healthy, it can actually take care of a lot of deficiencies just by taking that in itself, like getting that right in itself. If your gut is off there's so many studies about when your gut is not right, it can cause so many different things. And so a lot of our distributors, they do this trio every day, and they're just finding great success and just feeling awesome as they go through their days. So,
Okay. Well, that's cool. Is there dietary plans that you guys have to match up with your stuff?
So we have a program. It's called the 30-Day Drop, and that is the one that we actually brought someone in to bring a meal plan alongside. Now, it's not like, eat specifically X, Y, and Z every day. It's, the 30-Day Drop, it comes in an awesome box. It's 4 products. It's our best-selling pack. The GLP-1's about to surpass it, but it's been our best-selling pack for over a year now. But what's cool about it is you just take your phone, you scan a QR code on the box, and then it walks you through day 1, do this. Here's when you take the supplement. So making it really easy for the customer to not have guesswork. It's just like, okay, just tell me what to do with this. And that's been super successful. But really, when you get down to the diet plan, it's really just, hey, choose this or this, right? Choose this or this, and then take your supplements along the way. Do it for 30 days. You're going to find amazing results.
Kind of like a color-coded system of this, and this one equals this one. And you're supposed to the granimals.
Yes, exactly. Because, a a confused mind says no, right?
Yeah.
So taking that confusion and just making it really easy for the customer. That's what that pack does. The rest of them are so self-explanatory. Obviously, we would love for all of our clients to change diet habits, but if they don't, they'll take our supplements, without being completely, unhealthy. Given the clinicals, you should find the results that you would like to see.
So the direction of the company is growing. You guys are trying to hit benchmarks, I guess, that you guys set every year.
Yep.
What is next? What's next for you guys as you start to grow?
And, the cool thing about our founder is that he never wants us to just coast, right? He's like, John, like, find the next thing that's just going to take us, to the next level. Find us, don't be afraid to take risk. Don't be afraid to think outside of what you've known for the last 10 years. And, I really think what that is going to come down to, given that really the whole health and wellness industry is shifting. Our industry is shifting a lot too, because of social media, because of influencers. I think the next best thing for It Works, in my opinion, is we're a 24-year-old company and you didn't even know our name. And so there's this year is a massive push just for brand awareness for our company. I mean, it is truly the American dream, the story of the company, the math the math teacher and the coach that had a dream to start his own business, turned, one product into $1 billion company. And after 24 years, there's still so many people who don't even know who we are, right? And so one of the charges I have for our team, our marketing team, our creative team is, how do we get our message out to the world? Right. We have clinically proven ingredients in our products. We are a debt-free company. We are a business opportunity. We're a faith-based company. And our goal is to change a lot of lives all around the world. What's the next thing for us? We need the world to know who we are, because it's a really, really special thing, and it's a special company to be a part of. And so that's on the forefront right now is doing things like this, doing our own. We just built 2 great podcast studios at HQ. If you're ever in Florida, you need to come see the headquarters. It's beautiful. And it's all because a foundation's been laid, and we're not sitting back. Product innovation is always going to be a thing. What's the next movement that's going to help our existing sales force, something that they can execute on, right? Probably not coming out with a men's line very quick, right? But so staying in their wheelhouse, and the community behind that. I'm leaving on Monday we have an event in Paris to kickstart a Changing Lives tour. So over the next 5 months, we'll be in France, then we'll be in the States for 3 of them. And then we finish off in Canada, and creating that community, that camaraderie, that's key to our business, because community is so important in what we do. And in the midst of all that, there's, hundreds of smaller events that are led by leaders all around the world going on at the same time. And so just putting that all together this year and just getting the message out that we have something special. We would love to invite anyone on the journey who wants to be a part of it. So.
What do you do as far as tangible goes to get your name out in the market? Are you hitting social media really hard? Are you thinking like, is that your wheelhouse? Or are you thinking, man, I'm doing big picture and I'm going TV, I'm hitting billboards, I'm hitting radio? Like, what's the push? Because I can see you kind of, at a scale of a company that size, you can do all of those things.
Right. Yeah.
But do you have one way that you like to lean versus the other?
Yeah. So, for 24 years, it's been word of mouth through our distributors, right? And we're in a season now where it empowers them for other people to see what they're doing is validated. And so, you're going to see us, more on meta platforms. You're going to see us, we're already doing stuff on Google Ads, creating our own content. I mean, you know, probably better than anyone, it's all about just how do you break the algorithm? How do you get out of the bubble? How do you get an audience outside of your audience? And that really comes with quality content and not only creating that content for the company, but arming them with that content, right? Like, think about how you're like, if you became a distributor, right? How cool would it be if I flew you out to our headquarters and you sat down in our podcast studio and I armed you with an hour and a half full of content so that you can use on all of your platforms, right? Doing kind of PR days where they can come in, they can get lifestyle shots. Like we give them our creative team for a day to go out and become an advocate for them promoting content. I think that that's something that no other company's really doing for their existing sales force. And so we're on the forefront of that. It's already happening. And, you know, I think historically, you know, think about even not in our world, like in typical corporate America, they're not going to advocate for the employee to be their own brand.
Sure.
Right. We want to empower our distributors to be their own brand. We have this amazing girl named Katie who she's what we call crunchy, right? Like she grows her own vegetables and she homeschools her kids and I don't know how the heck she does all this stuff, but she has created her brand. Heck yeah, go for it, right? Like we want to be a part of that story, and she integrates our products and different things like that. So I think those are the things that are going to matter. I think you could get more juice out of the squeeze by empowering them than just, you know, yes, we'll hire some third party here and there, but is it going to resonate the way that it does for the people who are living this every day? Absolutely not. So I think we're going to hone in on a lot of that in the coming months, which I think no other company's doing. And it's going to be really cool to see what they come up with.
Yeah. So you guys are really looking to lean on grassroots social. Really.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know, finding those people that believe in what you're doing, use their circles to amplify it to other circles. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's, you know, kind of like a word of mouth, you know, just amplified.
Yes.
You know, that it kind of is the same vein as what you've been doing for the last 24 years, just on a bigger scale.
Yep.
You know, you've used people just to tell things in smaller circles or go to, you know, sitting down and throw a party at their house and, you know, they're offering them goods or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been the process that I've seen from some of those in the past, but, you know, relying on social is in that same vein.
It really is. I mean, it in a sense, it's like back in the day in our industry, it was like you would call, you know, 20, 30 people, say, come over to my house. I want to, you know, show you something or pitch you something or whatever. You know, now you have this virtual house and social media. You're just inviting them into that a different way, but your content has to be, one, good for them to even look at you. But two, it's got to be believable and relatable. But three, the thing that you're offering better live up to what you're promising, or you've broke all trust. Right. And so, we want to make a huge effort into being, you know, just huge advocates for great content. It's going to grow their business. It's going to grow their team. It's going to empower them. And then what? We're the beneficiaries of all that as well. So
do you think it gives more validation to your brand when you have people see their name in lights, or they see it like for a big billboard that has a name on it? Like people are like, oh, I've noticed that before. So when they say their name, they're not relying on Susie over here to say, oh, I saw it on Susie's channel. Okay, she's really wearing me out with this social media over here. But when someone sees a validation of there was a TV spot or a radio spot or a billboard, and someone goes, oh, that's a legitimate company. This is not, you know, some fly by night, right? Is there something too? Because you talked about establishing brand. Right. And establishing brand is, I mean, you can use the bulk of social media to really kind of put that out there. But at the end of the day too, like, how do you validate yourself?
Right. So I think that's where in a boardroom, a philosophical decision is made. Right. So you have your big boys who are all over the place. You know, they're on the top of arenas and they're on Super Bowl commercials and they're, you know, anywhere and everywhere. That's not us. Right. We have always been a more grassroots approach, where I would love to see our name more, and we do it. But when I say more, I'm saying because we believe we're blessed to be a blessing is, you know, you can Google our founder and you can see that he's given, I think, $12 million to Dick Vitale's cancer research program. You can look at anti-trafficking, Sale of Freedom, what we've donated there. You can, like, if I'm going to get advertisement outside of social media, I want it to be because we're doing something for the greater good. I want it to be, I saw that name at this that impacts that, right? When the landslides happened up in the Carolinas recently, our founder shipped literally semis out there of supplies and things, and I got crazy videos of like donkeys having to take them up to the places that no one could get to because yes, there's a marketing standpoint of you have to market yourself, you have to go that route, but in our industry, we are grassroots. We do work through our distributors. Social media is about to become a bigger part of that. But I guess the advertising I would love us to be more on is what are we doing for the greater good? Not just to bring in revenue for the company, but to actually say, okay, if we really say we're changing 1 million lives this year, I want it. I want anti-human trafficking to be a piece of those lives that we're changing. I want pediatric cancer research to be a piece of those lives we're changing, right? And so our charitable arm is awesome. It's called It Works Gives Back. My brother heads that up, which is really cool. And we get to a lot of really cool things. One thing we get to do is veteran work and helping, families that just need a bridge for bills or whatever, transition time coming back and different things like that. Like, man, when It Works, if I want them on a billboard, I want them on that, that's our heart, and so, yes, we'll do all the other stuff, but we will hone in mainly on social media. We're not about a stadium or a billboard. We want to be smart on social media, but then we really want to attach our brand to things that are making a difference in the world.
Only reason I bring it up is because you said earlier was, look, we've been here for 24 years and you don't know our name.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes getting out for people to understand your name en masse, like philanthropy is great. I love that. I love the aspect of what you're talking about for that. Doing good for other people.
Yep.
That doesn't get your name out there.
Right.
As far as a brand goes, that, and that's a perspective you as a company will take that thing and start to say, this is who we are. This is the type of people that work here. This is what we loot with our heart to put where our money, where our mouth is, still doesn't boost your brand. You know what I mean? So when you say we've been here for 24 years and you don't know our name, is there something, are you relying on social to get there? Are you relying on that? Or is there if you were to take one swing at it, I'm not saying you have the answer now, but just from that perspective, it seems to me like, my name in lights needs to be somewhere for validation for masses to see.
And what I think is, it's not known because we as a company have never even ventured into this area because we haven't had to.
Right.
So the whole industry is changing. So I can guarantee you, it won't be another 24 years and you don't know our name, right?
Yeah. That's very cool. Well, that's awesome, man. I don't mean to push you on the subject. I'm just trying to understand kind of where someone's mindset is with, their brand and why they see it. And there's a ton of other people that are out here going to go, how far do I push this?
Yeah.
How much do I need to invest?
Yes.
Is this the right channel for me?
Yep.
Right. And it's not that someone's done it right or wrong. It's just people need to understand that there's many ways to do this.
Yep.
You can be successful and be unknown for 24 years and be $1 billion company.
Right.
It's not a bad way to go about it.
That's mind-blowing in itself, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And so that's why I always ask, like, what's the next step? Are you trying to get, you're trying to have everyone know your name. You're trying to become household, which is a different perspective than we have a great product and it works. Yeah, it works. So, well, let's put that to bed for a minute.
Okay. All right.
What do you do outside of the office?
Outside of the office, so I have a lovely family. I have a 13-year-old girl, a 12-year-old girl, and a 6-year-old boy. So we are heavy into club sports, competitive gymnastics, and then I coach my 6-year-old's basketball team at the Y. So when he steps into it, I don't know how we're gonna juggle all that, but really, the last 2.5 years has been an adjustment for our family, obviously. I live in Texas and I travel to Florida almost every week, Tuesday through Thursday. So really when when I'm not working, it's them. I don't have capacity for much else. Obviously friends, but even I have to pick the spots with them because I don't want to take away from from being dad and being a good husband. And so we love sports. I love to play pickleball. I play golf, but it takes too much time. So unless it's like a charity scramble or something, I haven't played in a really long time. But really it's that it's family, it's church, and then it's those tight friendships that you carve out the time for because they're healthy for you.
Yep. Trying to stay in shape. Pickleball's a good one. That's really kind of taken off as well. What kind of music do you listen to?
Oh man. So I two genres, obviously. I love, Christian music. I love like Maverick City, Brandon Lake right now. I love his new song with Jelly Roll's awesome. But outside of Christian music, I'm a massive Luke Combs fan, man. My kids are like, Dad, when are we going to the concert? And it's like, I look up the dates and I just can't, but we're going to line up a date because they won't leave me alone. Yeah. Massive Luke Combs fan. And then I love the old country too. So I'm George Strait, always, a favorite. And, kind of go back to those middle school days with Faith Hill and Tim McGraw and kind of like, that a little bit, but, country and Christian. There you go.
It's so funny. Christian music, country music has taken a big turn. It went from like classic country music, it's like, it's got a style of its own. Right. And then all of a sudden,
Florida Georgia
Line came in and Keith Urban came in and those guys tried to change it a little bit. But this newer generation that's coming out now is we're going back.
It's so good.
It is great because they're going back to the roots on stuff, and so it's been a really nice journey for us to kind of watch some of that music start to come back in.
Blake Shelton, Luke Bryan, like they're just it's in a good spot right now, but I can listen to Luke Combs all day, man. He's great. So
I see you got some T Scotts on today, some Travis Scotts.
Yeah.
You a sneakerhead?
I love shoes, man. I've always loved shoes. It's a necessary evil of mine. I've been good this year. I decided to pull it way back, but I'm a sucker for some good shoes, man.
What does pull it way back mean?
I got into a habit where it was, 2-3 pairs a month, and I've probably toned it down to like 1 pair every 2 months this year. So I'm going to stay on that track. My wife hates my closet. It's not big enough for a lot of shoes, but I'm hoping that sooner or later my son will catch up to me and I'll be able to pass him down so I can at least justify 2 wears versus 1. So,
are you keeping the box?
I don't. They just take up too much space. I try not to wear. So my argument is that the more you have, the slower they wear.
Right.
My wife calls BS on that, but whatever. Yeah. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. No, I'm not a box keeper though. No.
Yeah. Well, you can give them to your son and he can sell them on eBay.
Yeah.
Those Travis Scott boxes, that's probably $50, $75 box. Yeah.
Should have probably done that. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool. How many we got in the collection right now? How many are we thinking? You don't want to talk about it?
I don't even know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'll text you later.
This is so it's not in front of everybody.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, man. I'm a big shoe guy. I've got more than I can shake a stick at myself. But honestly, this year I've said the same thing to myself of like, let's throttle this back just a little bit, right?
It's hard for men though, because we wear kind of the same thing every day. There's only a couple differentiators, right? It's either your shoes or a watch. I'm not a big watch guy, so it's always been the shoes, right? You can basically wear a t-shirt and jeans, but if your shoes are good, so yeah, I feel you.
We went to a gallery thing of mine yesterday, and one of the people that was there with us said, "I thought you said this was a casual thing," and it was oh, it is for guys. We wear the same t-shirt and nice dress shoes. I mean, not dress shoes, but nice shoes, nice sneakers all the time. And so that's kind of how that thing kind of turns out. It's just like, that's what we are. We're we're very casual with jeans and an old t-shirt, and then throw some nice kicks on. Everybody's like,
changes everything.
So that's just kind of how it's built. But
definitely.
Well, I tell you what, I really appreciate you being on here today. Yeah. It's been fun. I've learned a lot, quite honestly.
No, it's been awesome, man. I really appreciate you letting me be here, and hopefully we'll get to do it again soon, and we can pick a more specific topic and go at it. It'd be awesome. So
39-year-old CEO of a $1 billion company. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. It's a blessing to have the opportunity. Just gonna keep helping a lot of people, and everything will take care of itself. So,
yeah, man.
Yep.
Great talking to you. Thanks for being on here.
Yeah.
Until next time, that's the Blueprint.